All right, happy Friday night, everybody. Welcome to the daily broadcast coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios. We got a lot to get to tonight. Texas Tech, Washington State, prediction time. The Mike Leach tribute game. Will it end in under 7 hours? Is it the first one to 50, 45, 65? You tell us tonight. We got all that going on. We got Kansas City and Baltimore last night. The Fighting Mahomes escaping with a win, but actually they controlled most of the game. They really did. And I thought there was a lot of interesting nuances to the game, both teams, and we'll probably, more than likely, it's entirely possible, see this game again sometime in the postseason. But a big win for them. So we got all that going on tonight. Whatever else is on your mind, it is Friday. That means you tell us the most Texan thing that you have done this week over the last 7 days. The most Texan thing that you have done. The early arrivals, you know what to do. Let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Give us hearts, thumbs up, everything else. All communication brought to you by United Supermarkets and Market Street right here in the Hubaplex and beyond, all around West Texas and into the Metroplex and everywhere else. Craig on Facebook, the talking box is on. Indeed, it is. So we want to hear from you, whether you're on Twitter X, whether you're on Facebook or the YouTube channel. A lot of new people this past week on the YouTube channel. Glad you're out there. Share this, invite people in. Let them know we're talking about Texas Tech, West Texas, and the things that matter to you. Let's do the show in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan I at theraiderland.com. Started your day on the website. I know you did. Getting in on the most Texan thing you've done, checking out the Raiderland hot links. We're brought to you tonight by Sideline Provisions. You can look good this weekend and every weekend and all the time. We're in all the cool Texas Tech gear from Sideline Provisions. Find it at quarter 4. What the hell is that? That's the old Cardinal Sports Center, South Loop 289, Slider Road. You know where it is. I've got the link on our page. You can get it online. If you live outside the area, if you live outside Lubbock, Texas, you want to look good, buying really cool apparel from Red Raiders, owned and operated, you need Sideline Provisions. Also tonight, brought to you in part by Domino's and Domino's Pizza, Domino's.com. It's Friday. I should have stopped in town and got some pizza. That was on me. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. Boot City handles all the cool Western wear you see on the program, including this fine paisley little shirt we got rocking today. It was a little warm for the shirt. When I starched this one, it gets a little warm, and I didn't think it was going to be as warm as it was, and it was really warm. Hold on, somebody trying to get a hold of me. No, too late. Can't get a hold of me. So we're glad you're with us tonight. Let's get your score predictions in for Texas Tech. Can they win on the road? The 60 seconds of Raiderland commentary today. If you want to be relevant as a football program, you got to win on the road. Joey McGuire 3-8 on the road. Good teams, bad teams, non-conference, conference, doesn't matter. You got to win on the road. Can they do it this weekend? Can they do it potentially without Taj Brooks? That man on the injury list. Can they do it without it? I don't know. I want to see if the number has moved any at all here in the last little bit before we went on. Friday night, they raised the limits. You'll see movement on a lot of lines Friday night into Saturday. They raised the limits and what you can do. Yeah, there we go. It's down to +1. Washington State -1, Texas Tech +1. This thing's a pick 'em. There was a bit of an overreaction early. I think some big money hit Washington State when they heard about Taj Brooks and some Tech injuries. So there we are. So you tell us the most Texan thing. Give us your Texas Tech, Washington State score predictions, how you think this game is going to go. We can talk about why you think Tech doesn't win on the road, why they do. Kansas City, Baltimore, that game last night. CJ went to several antique stores, the most Texas thing. Where were the antique stores? And were you by yourself or were you with a wife and or girlfriend? Hopefully not your wife and your girlfriend. That would be awful. Craig, I was on vacation, didn't do a single thing, just enjoyed the West Texas sunsets. And we had some great ones. We always do, but we had some really good ones the last week. Our man Tyler is on Twitter X. He's rolling in. This is a very Leachian score 63-34 Washington State. Game will kick off about 9:10, 9:15 our time. Might end before 1, might not. The perfect tribute as they induct Mike Leach into their Hall of Thing would be about a 4.5-hour game, first one to 55 or so. Wazoo, Allen, 38, Tech 34. I think that's far too low scoring. I pose the question, does 45 points win this game? I don't think it does. And I'll give you my score here in a little bit. CJ in Oklahoma, Broken Arrow with the wife. All right, well, somebody's got to be in Oklahoma. Somebody's got to go to Broken Arrow. Somebody's go to antique stores. But did you buy anything? That would be the question. If you're just joining the show tonight, we asked the most Texan thing you've done this week. Every Friday we do this. You got to be really Texan around these parts. You got to, I mean, the farther you are away from Texas, the more Texan you got to be. The things you got to do. I didn't wash the mud off my truck yet because I've still got 2 big mud holes I got to go through to get to the house. And it's a badge of honor this week in here in West Texas that you got some mud on the truck. Texas Tech, Washington State score predictions. Do you have faith in Texas Tech this week? If I tell you right now, Taj Brooks does not play, does that affect how you would score this game at all? Or if he can't play and it's Cameron Valdez, you go from there. How much does that change it for you? Which is amazing to say because he's an All-American running back. And I don't think it really matters that much in the big scheme of things when we start talking about point spreads and different things. And there are huge overreactions, even in the NFL, to different players being out. And for the most part, there are very few players that can move a number in the NFL, even a point, let alone a 1.5, 2 points. I didn't see what you were looking for. Well, you and Bono, still haven't found what you're looking for. Craig, 41, Washington State, 52, Tech loses due to not being able to stop a toddler on defense. A toddler with the football. That would be really weird. Some kid in diapers. Shirt that says, watch this, hold my beer. Coming around the right side. Now, it would be more of a receiver. Let's be honest. It wouldn't be a toddler. It'd be like a junior high receiver. You have every right to be concerned this weekend. You should. You also have every right not to give in to recency bias and not to give in to the idea that you're never as bad as you look, you're never as good as you look. And what has Joey McGuire done week 2 and both years as head coach after week 1? And that includes one boat race of what was it, Murray State, and then a loss at Wyoming with a really good bounce back game. That if the guy who thinks Lubbock smells like shit doesn't throw a pick 6, hey, at least you're covering, right? Much improved performance against Oregon, and you beat Houston, I believe, the week 2 of the first year. That I have a short track record, a small sample size that tells me Joey McGuire teams get better week 2. How much better do they have to be beat a Washington State team that played a team roughly, the equivalent of who you were playing, more or less? I mean, they boat raced them. They destroyed them. So are they really that good? Is Mateen, whatever his name is he really that good? Did we lose a lot on defense to graduation? You got a lot of new players on defense. Had a lot of first-time starters, a lot of players never playing before. And Keith Patterson said earlier this week that he thought they were kind of apparently intimidated by the Tech home crowd. Well, hopefully they won't be intimidated by 40,000 Eastern Palouse region denizens at Washington State this week. Hopefully they got that out of their system. CJ, I think you're not going to keep Brooks off the field. Yeah, I can keep Brooks off the field real easy. I don't play him. Questionable doesn't mean he's not going to play. A lot of people believe he's not going to play. And we're learning what questionable on the injury list means. But even if he is questionable, and even if he tries to play, he ain't 100%. They don't put him on the list otherwise. Trust me. Defense is going to come through. Tech 55-35? 35-35? Why can't we play good on the road? Is it lack of preparing, mental focus, low IQ football? Yes, yes, yes. And though I look at all the different games you've lost the last 2 years under Joe McGuire, there's not one single element that translates from game to game. Sometimes you just played better teams. Sometimes you played good defense and had no offense. Sometimes you had good offense, no defense. Sometimes your guys got hurt. Sometimes you had injuries and couldn't overcome that. There's not one single silver bullet theory on why this team hasn't done it, which is why I said today on the commentary, at a certain point, you just got to do it. Either you're good enough or you're not. My prevailing theory right now, the first 2 years, you're just not good enough to do it, talent-wise and everything else. And it's borne out because you're not that great at home. You're barely winning some games at home. You're barely making bowl games. So teams that barely make bowl games, they're probably not going to just show up and win on the road, are they? So if you want to be better than barely making bowl games, you better figure out a way to win on the road. What, 4? No. Starters? 2, I think 4 starters on defense. I think I've got that right. How do you get intimidated by your own crowd? That's a great question, Craig. That it's loud and the environment and the people and the noise and the horse and the fireworks and the video boards and everything else. And you just had never done it before. And there's all this stuff going on and we couldn't communicate. We couldn't think. The fake Natalie Maines, who may or may not be as interesting as the real Natalie Maines, not good talent-wise. What does this differ from? All the pom-pom waving from Joey. Finish the sentence on the first one and give me a better question on the second one. Although I did say, hey, if all you're going to be is slogans, in a program, go coach the cheer team and paint some busters for the team to run through. If you know what busters are. A lot of people today don't know what spirit busters are, don't know what busters are. At a certain point, you got to do it. And we're getting rapidly approaching to that. At a certain point, you got to do it. Washington State as a program is no better than Tech. No better at all. They should not be. They barely have a conference. You dwarf them facilities, monetarily and otherwise. You better have more talent than them. If you can't go beat them on the road, that ain't good. And it's fair to ask questions. I'll give you my score as we get through tonight. Kansas City, Baltimore. Anybody watch it last night? I want to talk about the most Texan thing you've done. And it's Friday. Here you go. Because I was involved in daily radio for 30 years and doing daily radio shows and everything else. And the program directors and everybody were like, hey, remember on Fridays, it's open line Fridays. Remind the people, hey, it's open line Fridays. Anybody can call in with anything. Let them know it's open line Fridays here from 3 to 7 tonight. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing open lines since you were diapers. Since 1989, I've had open lines. Give me this open line Friday bullshit. You know where that came from, by the way? Rush Limbaugh. Brilliant ploy on his part back in the early 90s. Because Friday is one of the least listened to days in radio, sports or otherwise. In radio, Friday listenership, boom, plummets. So what did Rush come up with? Open line Friday. Didn't mean anything. It was always open lines. You could always call in. But he bred an idea to the listener that, oh, on Fridays it's special. It's different. I shall listen. A little inside baseball, inside radio for you. Is Joey Mack just Spike 2.0? Not yet. Some are saying. Not yet. And here's why. Spike Dykes had much more collegiate experience, much more college football coaching experience than Joey McGuire. Joey McGuire can't touch Spike Dykes when it comes to the resume Spike Dykes had as a college assistant coach and coordinator level coach coming into Texas Tech before he took over after what's-his-name McWilliams departed. Hired under Moore, stayed with McWilliams. The comparisons, just because Spike, and people kind of finally remember the time he had at Middle League, Spike Dykes was a college coach. Yeah, he coached Ballinger, he coached Middle League. He was a college coach. He coached with Fred Akers. So I find it kind of insulting to Spike Dykes that people would say Joey McGuire is a 2.0. He's not. He doesn't have near the college experience that Spike Dykes had. Now, do they have personality traits that I find similar? Yeah, they do. You know, Ryan, imagine the pessimism if Tech were still playing Oregon this week. Oh, good God. The big curtain of paper that the players run through at the beginning of the game. What are you talking about, Craig? I know what you're talking about. People don't know what you're talking about. What's more open? Friday phone lines or the Wazoo receivers tomorrow night? Thank you. He'll be appearing on Raiderland Rewind, not Saturday night, not early Sunday morning. We will come back with Raiderland Rewind. We'll recap the game Sunday evening, probably around 6 o'clock. All right? Ain't going to do it. Ain't going to do a 2 a.m. freaking rewind. So just get over it. Get ready for it. It'll be Sunday evening. You'll have time to detox, wake up, all of that. CJ on Facebook. By the way, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, X, YouTube, all of our YouTube people, we love you. Share and invite people in. Twitter, same thing. Facebook, you know what to do. Game last night was a good game. Kickoff scheme is a joke. The new offensive line rule going to take teams a little while to get used to. Yeah, you can't cheat anymore on lining up. The kickoff rule, what the kickoff return now is a run play. That's all it is. It's a run play. And most teams are going to do what Kansas City did and just screw it, kick it out of the end zone. But when you get a chance to return it, you're running a run play, and it's blocked like that right now. And I'm kind of here for it. Whatever. I hate the wussification of football, missed kickoff returns. But make no mistake, it's a run play. Watch how they do it this weekend. Friday listeners plummet, and that's why the musers have the e-break and the where do we go? Have the e-break, and their viewers calling it e-break at 7:55 on Fridays. Well, among other reasons. Did Spike coach under DKR? Yes, he did. Rush was a brain. Yes, he was. He had an innate ability to connect with an audience and understand an audience that very few people in our industry have ever had. I certainly don't have the ability, but he just had this innate ability to connect and understand certain things with audience flow, audience connection, that programmers today are stupid and they fight against it. Alan, I'm thinking the puzzling non-conference losses to Wyoming and North Texas for the comparison to Spike. Oh, yeah. Listening to you is once again the most Texan thing that I've done this week. Roberto Delgado. I say gracias. Gracias, senor. How do you handle yourself, says Rain? How do you handle yourself as a play-by-play broadcaster like Jensen if you are such a homer like him during mediocrity during the season? Hell, I don't know. How do you handle yourself? I'll tell you this, if you do, and you do it on air, you'll probably get fired. So I advise against that right now, 100%. Brian, if you're listening and watching, I know you do, what Randy is saying, don't do that during the game. You'll end up like a CNN contributor. Oh, hush. Hush. You've been fed. You've been watered. I left it on local news. What do you want? What do you want to watch? You have the remote. Change the channel. I know you know how to do it. Okay, I've got a dog, so I'll leave the remote control. And our big Catahoula lab mix. She goes about 100 pounds or so. Big dog. And if I leave that on the sofa, on the couch, she will hop up there in the middle of the night, lay down on the remote, and turn on the damn TV. And there ain't nothing weirder than like 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden you realize the TV's on in your house. Yeah, I hear you. home sports broadcast should be a Alan with a cliffhanger tonight. Most Texan thing you've done this week. What would it comprise of? Texas Tech and Washington State score predictions. Want you guys to continue sharing this, inviting people in. It's not hard to do. And then Kansas City last night. I made the mistake a couple of years ago of fading Kansas City, thinking they'd played so many postseason games and that it's so hard to do what they're doing. And I learned that I'm stupid because Kansas City management is not Dallas Cowboy management and not most franchise management, and they know how to handle a roster. And that Patrick Mahomes, as good as we thought he was early on, he's actually one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And I made the mistake a few years ago of fading him, and I'm never going to do it again. That doesn't mean I bet on him every week. In fact, I would have smart money, real smart money, 3 points last night, Baltimore, given what most Super Bowl teams do, which is not cover week one. Not a bad play. Got beat, didn't you? I ain't going to fade them. I am intrigued by what they've done, though, adding Xavier Worthy. And he didn't touch the ball that much last night, but good Lord, what he did. Good Lord, what he did. He's not Tyreek Hill. This is different, but he is given Mahomes and will give Mahomes an element to take the top off the safeties, and he'll give Travis Kelce a chance to have one more halfway decent year and open things up underneath. Really, really like that. I will look at Baltimore and go, you are unsustainable if you run Lamar Jackson that many times. You can't do it. And I know they were playing this like a late season. We knew this for a playoff type game. I get it. Talking about both teams. That you did things last night that you might not normally do, but you didn't bring Derrick Henry in to run him the way you ran him. So I think if we look at the AFC, it's Kansas City, Baltimore in the discussion. Cincinnati should have an easy weekend this weekend. As long as Buffalo has the quarterback they have, I ain't going to bet against them. And then we start looking around and go, okay, who else after that? You know? Are we believing in Houston, the Texans? Are you buying the Texans right now on the AFC side? It's a shame they're in the AFC. If they were in the NFC, this would be easy. Are we believing what we saw late last year with that, with what we saw? But I saw a Kansas City team that has managed their cap incredibly well. Mahomes has all the weapons he needs. They'll win that division potentially by 2 games. And we go from there. Alan says fans want the home broadcast to be a mix between CNN and Pravda in their coverage of my team, the true believer. Yeah, that's what people want. I got in trouble for not always giving that to people on Lady Raider broadcast. Interesting. They get mad at me. No, that's all right. Fake. I bought my hunting license this week. Pretty darn Texan, even for fake Natalie Maids. All the dove are in my front yard in town. Yeah, we obviously we live kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So my brother-in-law's already been out hunting, I think, like 3 times and cleaned up pretty good. My dogs get bored of catching dove. I mean, literally tonight, I could open the door, they could go out, and one of them could bring one up, slightly nod on it. Worthy as quick as hiccup. Put 1 foot in the ground, turn the corner to the house. Yeah, I did. All right, let's get some more Texas Tech, Washington State score predictions in this one. I'll give you mine. You can react to it. We can talk about it. We can talk about why they can't win on the road. Most Texan thing, whatever you want to do. Thank you, Sideline Provisions, and the great people over there for bringing you the broadcast tonight. Thank you, Domino's Pizza, which if you live where they can deliver, I do not. I should have got it on the way home. Hope you get some. Boot City, one money, 7 mile. If you come into town, go to Boot City and tell Cody and all the crew out there thanks. And United Supermarkets, everybody who comments, chats, hangs out with us, they're bringing it to you. There's one grocery store in Lubbock that spends money with Texas Tech. There's another that spends money downstate in another town. Against my better judgment, I am taking Texas Tech. I am going with the contrarian pick for a lot of different people. Dr. Bob Onvisen today made a great case why Texas Tech can't win this game, why it's fairly priced, and Washington State should be a 1.2 point favorite at home. Made a great case for it. And this is a hill I'm going to die on this weekend. That I believe Texas Tech has better personnel. That I believe Texas Tech is a better team and a better program than Washington State. And I will disavow as much as I can the idea of recency bias that affects so many people, both within the betting market or otherwise in fandom. That I'm going to look at this program and I'm going to say what I saw last weekend, I believe to be not an aberration necessarily, but I just don't think that defense is that bad. And I think it can perform better. And I believe that the offense showed me a lot of things I liked. And then I believe even if Taj Brooks does not play, write it down, Valdez, 115 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Write it down. That I'm going to be, and it's weird saying I'm going to be contrarian by taking Texas Tech. I am going to be contrarian and take Texas Tech this weekend. That this is a game you got to win from a program standpoint. That you have to look at last week and say, doesn't matter. That from a first 5 games, get where you want to go. We believe this team is where it is. We believe this program is where it is. That I'm not going to radically alter my expectations for this team and this program. And I'm going to take Texas Tech to win this game. 2 weeks ago, I would have picked Texas Tech to win this game. I'm going to take them 49-45. And I don't know that 49 is enough to win. I truly don't. Again, it's the Mike Leach tribute game. First 1 to 50 probably. Let's play for 7 hours. We'll go from there. Fake Natalie Maines, Washington State 38-27. Way too low scoring. Robert Tech 55-47. That's probably about as good as anything. Do we believe a higher scoring game is better for Tech or a lower scoring game? Or does it even matter? This is one of those moments, though, in the Joey McGuire career trajectory that you need to win a game like this. And if you don't, you look at that schedule up there on my dry erase board. If you don't, well, makes life uncomfortable. Randy, we continue to have a lack of push in between the trenches. No, in the trenches, not in between the trenches, in the trenches. 48-34. And that's something the offensive line was functional last Saturday, did not physically dominate. The defensive line could not get home pass rush, well documented. And I was told all spring and summer, going to get home pass rush. You got to change everything what we're doing. Okay. Maybe you just don't blitz this weekend. Maybe you just literally get in a 3 and you cover out. And I won't be surprised if you see an odd man front. But if I see a 3 and they just say, all right, we're going to try to, because Washington State's incredibly one-dimensional. They are pass heavy. Imagine that. Who knew? Just give me 3 and we'll cover out. You know what you ought to do? Cloud coverage. Have you thought about that? Cloud coverage, triple cloud coverage. You got 3 levels of 3 guys. That's 9. And then, well, okay. You get the idea. I'm not ready to give up on this defensive front, but with the injuries in the linebacking side and where they can bring pressure from, maybe it is a weekend where you just say, you know what, we're not going to try. That maybe if we feel like we've got a physical mismatch somewhere on that line that we can pick apart, we do it. But otherwise, lay back in coverage because nothing frustrates a passing team more than teams laying back in coverage and getting underneath stuff. CJ, get you a nap so you can stay up and watch the game. Yeah, we'll watch the game. Ain't no way in hell we're doing a show, though, after the game Saturday night, Sunday morning. Ain't nobody going to be up. So it's going to be around probably 6 o'clock Sunday evening. Do you ever cover the tech pressers or do you let Don handle the hard-hitting questions? Yeah, I like to attend when I can. I missed for two different reasons. I missed the first two. No fault of my own. But I do like to go and watch and sit there. And, you know, I don't ask questions at those pressers because I know the answers I'm going to get, having done this for 35 years, and it's just a waste of my time and everybody else's. And I know that may sound like a jaded old sports guy thing to say, but truly, they're not worth much. They're really not. And I feel bad for all the media that literally has to be there and is required by their job. Hi there, David Collier, talking about you. I feel bad because they're really pointless. Now, sometimes they get interesting. Like this week when Don asked about, so when did he hurt his shoulder? And Joey flaked out, you know, was like, we got our injury report. We're not going to do it. Damn it, Joey, just answer the question. You're not a Tuesday night booster club meeting. Timbo is in Austin. He's on YouTube, our channel. 52, 51. Yeah, absolutely. Drive it like you stole it. All you got to do is get a win. If somehow you come out of here 2-0, you're ahead of the game and you're still figuring stuff out, and then you're hustling it up there in North Texas, and you guys know the rest of the schedule after that. How about get on the receivers quick? Stay with them so they don't get easy throws. Damn it, Tom, I'm with you. Give me a little press coverage. Let's go zero invert, cover 3. We got to move the backer in. We're going to check release outside on a quarter, but I want zero press. Invert cover 3 on 2. The guys, so-called sports station in town, love the press conferences. Go for it. Well, they have to, and I get it. They got content, they got hours, they got to burn, they got to do stuff. So yeah, I mean, if that's what you're doing, you got to have that. And a lot of them go there early and they eat, and they get like a free meal. When I was in college and kind of early on, that was a cool thing. I can feed myself these days. Yeah, a lot of them just go for the free meal. CNBC and get the free meal. That's fine. Hey, I was there once before. We were all young. All right, we're in green, white checker now. All right. Green, white checker. That means we're into overtime. Craig says, not trying to put the cart before the horse. Have you ever tried to do that, by the way? I had a buddy who had a horse, and he had a cart, and one time he put the, well, anyways. But North Texas may have a chance against Tech. They shouldn't. But God knows they seemingly always do, don't they? Going all the way back to 1988. Scotty Davis in the mean green. Do the Cowgirls win in Cleveland? I wouldn't pick them to win. But I also am not a big believer in Cleveland. I think Deshaun Watson is toast, done. And they've got a lot of great stuff around him. But that's got a chance to be an ugly game. I certainly wouldn't pick Dallas to win it at all. So, oh, you meant win in Cleveland. Do the Cowgirls win in Cleveland? I don't know what they do when they're in Cleveland, Natalie. I mean, what the Cowgirls do win in Cleveland is totally different. My gosh, I read that question wrong. I'm sorry, you were speaking about what the Cowgirls do win in Cleveland? Eh? Dallas Cowboys, though, I would have them on a 9-win pace, regression year. Mike McCarthy may be the first NFL head coach fired. And I think Jerry wants to do it. You know, the mistake by the lake where the quarterbacks go to die, you know, the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium, see like 77,000, and it was called the mistake by the lake. For those who don't know their history. North Texas, 80 new players on their roster. Yeah. It's like what SMU did first year under Sonny Dykes, you know. Rated. All right, you guys are fun. Enjoyed it. Hang with us tonight. We will post this at theraiderland.com. I want y'all to share it and invite people in to watch the replay. Replay people, we love you. Stay with us tomorrow at Ryan Hyatt Media during the day. We'll have cool stuff for you on Twitter. And again, we will not have Raiderland Rewind immediately after the show Sunday night, okay? It's just too late for everybody. I ain't going to go on air at 1 or 1:30. We will do it probably Sunday evening about 6 o'clock. So go to early church, do what you got to do, watch the NFL games, and we'll hit you kind of in between the wrap up of the NFL games Sunday right before Sunday night football. Is Carrie Underwood doing the Open? Do we know? I would really like to wrap up before Carrie Underwood does the Open. Y'all are a lot of fun. I've got it 49-45. Texas Tech, probably against my better judgment. But I believe this is a moment in the program that Joey McGuire has to have. And we'll find out if he gets it. If you guys are going out to high school football games tonight or you're already out there watching them, hey, be safe on the road coming home. Respect everybody. Turn your brights down when you're driving down the road. I hate you people who don't turn your brights down when I come up on you. So be cool. All right? Turn the brights down. See you.